Man, it's really dark in here. Oh, that's better. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the network, where today we're going to be trying something a little bit different. Instead of the usual tutorials that we put on, today I thought it'd be kind of fun to go over making a prop of sorts. So today we're going to be going over the process on how you can make a realistic looking Minecraft torch, something akin to this, with nothing more than a little bit of soldering, some 3D printing, and a little bit of paint. So without any further introduction, let's move on to the build. First things first, we'll spend the next 15 hours printing a few bases for the torch on our Ender 3 V2 Neo. We won't be going too in-depth on the aspects of 3D printing in this video, however, if that's something you'd like me to go over in the future, leave a comment saying so. I'll also have links to the materials used and the model in the description down below. After the print time is up, I'll remove any supports and clean up any fuzzies left on the print by using a lighter. Now, because this prop will have a wood grain texture, there isn't much of a need to sand out the layer lines, as they won't really be visible in the final product, allowing us to move straight onto the painting. Whenever using an aerosol paint, be sure to use appropriate PPE equipment and work in a ventilated area. I'll start off by priming the surface of the print with some gray primer. Pro tip, wearing a global spraying helps keep your hand from looking like it was dipped in a bucket of paint. After the primer layer is done, it's time to wait a few hours till the base color for the wood effect can be applied. For making our wood texture, I'll use some satin spray paint of the nutmeg variety. I found that this color works well as the base for selling the wood look. However, do feel free to experiment with other colors and leave your results in the comments down below. Once you get a good layer of paint down, we're going to have to let it sit for around a day or so, as we want this layer to be as dry as possible for the next step. With the torch base now as dry as this video's humor, it's time to bring out the secret ingredient of this project, that being some mahogany gel wood stain. And yes, I picked this up discounted for $2. Projects like this can get expensive. Don't judge. Now we'll crack this sweet can open and use a disposable chip brush to apply a small amount of the stain to the surface of the base. Now, in order for this process to work, you'll want to only brush in one direction and try not to apply too much of the stain. First, it may seem like you don't have enough on the print. However, if you just keep spreading it out across the surface, you'll notice that you do. You don't want to apply too much, as some of the base color should show through. Then, due to the combination of colors and technique, it should come out looking like it's a piece of wood. Now, this stain is like glue, so I'll crack the battery door open a bit to make sure that it doesn't fuse shut while drying. Then this will be left to dry for about a day or so. Once a couple of days have passed, I'll protect the work with a bit of matte clear coat so the electronics can be installed without worrying about scratching the paint job. Now, to turn this simple base into something more akin to a Minecraft torch, we'll need to add a bit of set electronics. To achieve this, you'll need, in addition to the base, a self-locking push-button switch, a AA battery holder, and some flickering yellow or orange LEDs. Start off by tinting the legs of the LEDs, then take the base for the LEDs that was printed in some translucent yellow PLA. These LEDs will be run in parallel, so I'll want to have both the positive and negative leads on the same sides. To achieve this, I'll run both the longer legs through the highest holes in the base plate and the shorter ones through the lowest. Once the legs start going through the holes, you'll notice them start to spread. Ironically similar to your mother last night. This is perfectly fine, just keep pushing them through until you can bend the diode upward. Then bend the legs down towards the base to lock it into place. Wow, that rhymed. Huh. Now it's on to doing that again for the other set of holes. Once both LEDs are in there, cross the sets of positive and negative leads together, then tack them into place with a bit of solder and amputate the excess leads on the LEDs. Now it's on to setting up the battery terminals. I'll start by removing the battery cover and inserting the battery holder to determine the length of wire needed. I'd say about a little over an inch in excess length should be good. After cutting, I'll strip the wires like my girlfriend and tin the tips. Then I'll run the positive wire through the holes closest to the positive legs on the LEDs and solder it into its final resting place. As for the negative side, you'll want to snip about an inch down from the tip and strip then tin both ends of the wire, as this will be where the switch goes in the final assembly. I'll take the shorter wire and run it through the hole on the negative side of our base plate, then solder it into place. This is pretty much the entirety of the circuit minus the switch, as we'll be adding that in later to make things easier in the final assembly. Now it's on to getting everything into place. We'll start by securing the battery pack by applying hot glue to the bottom and walls of the base, then sliding the battery pack in. If you get hot glue sprouting from one of the terminals, be sure to remove it with some tweezers. Next, tin the leads on the switch and remove the nut. Then insert it into its designated hole within the base. You may need a bit of force to achieve this. With the switch in place, secure it into the base with the nut. Then solder the negative wire from the battery holder to one of the leads on the switch. Follow that up by soldering the negative wire from the LEDs to the opposite lead. Now pop in some AA's and make sure that the circuit's working. Great! Now take the top of the torch, also printed in the translucent PLA, and snap the LED base inside. There are 2 notches in the torch top that correspond to slots in the torch base. Using just the right amount of force, press the 2 parts together until they lock into place. Then just slide the battery cover back on, and the Minecraft torch should be complete for your cave spelunking adventures. So if you enjoyed this kind of content and would want to see more videos like it, go ahead and leave a like so that I know that we should make more content like this going forward. And if you're new, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any new videos from the network. And while you're down there, be sure to comment something that you'd want to see made, and maybe we can tackle that in the next video. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.